All right, hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out as always. So right into it today with some more Vynnset content. I figured it would be a good time to revisit the CC list. I've had some pretty significant changes to the meta recently with the loss of both Lexi and Iyslander, two of our most difficult matchups. So I think it's a good time to go through the list, talk about some recent changes, how the deck is leaning now without Lexi and Iyslander floating around. Also jump on Talishar and see who we can get paired into. On that note, I want to film some more consistent gameplay footage so we can kind of see how the deck performs now into different matchups. Maybe pre-record some gameplay footage and talk through after the fact and sort of analyze the game. I think that's going to be really helpful for myself as well to improve my lines and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, without further ado, let's take a look. Beautiful Vynnset. Still on Crown of Providence as a default headpiece. I do still have Ebonfold in the inventory. Kano is still floating around, so Spell Void 2 can come up. But you know what? If you're not too worried about Kano, that could come out if you're looking for another, slot. So Ebonfold, I'll look at the inventory later, but default Flail of Agony. So this guy is just great to generate rune chants. The classic line, Mauvrine's guys into Deathly Wail, follow up with this to produce even just the on hurt, when you take a damage, produce that extra rune chant. Spring Tunic, I'm still trying to run this by default whenever possible. There are certain matchups where it's probably more correct to run Carapace for the extra block and to help get over those breakpoints, but that extra resource really plays a significant role. So my thinking on it is, Carapace is a 2-block and then a 1-block. So it represents 3 life, or depending on how you want to think about it, it can represent getting over 2 breakpoints, which can be significant. Into Ninja potentially, where we have those breakpoints that we're worried about. Don't want them drawing cards. So, okay. But Tunic, every third turn, it allows you to basically give up an extra card, because this gives you the resource that you need to maybe play an Envelop in Darkness to start off your turn, or Runeblood Incantation. So that extra card you give up is either a 2-block or a 3-block. So every 3 turns, you get an extra 2 or 3 life by giving up that extra card. So depending on how you think about it, you can kind of justify playing Tunic even in aggro matchup where you might only go 4 or 5 rounds and only get 1 resource, but Carapace might be the play. But I'm trying to convince myself into this because it just feels good to have that extra resource. Grasp of the Arknight is just the best for the reason of the breakpoint, so it blocks for 2 and then it blocks for 1, and it sticks around and creates you a rune chant when you need it. Okay, so often pitching a blue to make that second rune chant to rune gate something out. Scepter of Pain as the default offhand. I am interested in testing with Tessin. We do have Grimoire as an alternative in the inventory as well, which can come up, can be important if to close out the game or in aggro matchups. But Scepter of Pain can help you sort of build up rune chance if you're trying to get over a more defensive deck. So default offhand. Spellbound Creepers, the wall of text that is Spellbound Creepers, allows for some really, really interesting lines. It allows you to go too wide. And so, yeah, default legs, there's nothing else we run as boots. This just allows too much opportunity to do some fun stuff. So Deathly Delight, 3 of, we just need a critical mass of Runegate cards. So 2-cost Runegate that gains you life. The life gain is sort of, can come up, can be important late game. So it's great. Of course, there are certain things that I feel like I don't really need to say anymore. Deathly Wail is the bread and butter of this deck. All 9 of your best games are when you can chain these together, turn after turn, end the turn on these rune chants that it generates, which opens up your reduced to rune chants, all this kind of stuff, allows you to roll into the next turn with relative ease. So all 9 of them, they're just a must-have. They make the deck go. I am now on 8 Envelop in Darkness. These are great with creepers. You can creepers them in. So with a blue, you can actually activate Grasp and, well, if you have a blue and Tunic up, you can activate Grasp and Creepers in Envelop, or if you don't need to Creepers, if you have natural Go Again, you can Grasp into Envelop, make 2 Rune Chants, and get your second Rune Gate card out. But Envelop in Darkness can just be that card that you need to get to the critical massive Rune Chants to Rune Gate your first card out anyway. So 8 Envelop in Darkness. I'm not fully sold on... You know, I'm trying to figure out what the correct amount of Rune Chant generation is in the deck right now. So I'm currently on 8 Envelop in Darkness, and it feels pretty good. Down to 2 Funeral Moon. This can feel a bit awkward at times. It doesn't really do much, but it does have some stuff going for it. So it is a Shadow non-attack, which allows you to trigger Vynnset's ability, which can come up. It can represent that extra Rune Chant that you need at the beginning of your turn, or it can allow you to end on a Rune Chant at the end of your turn. So I'm still on 2 Funeral Moon. I don't know if you cut these out entirely, but some decks are. So the Worlds list that's floating around there, I think, is on 0 Funeral Moon. And you know what? There could be an argument to be made there. So I'm currently playing on 2, seeing how that feels. Again, trying to figure out that critical mass of Rune Chant generation. I'm now on Blue Mavrian Skies, which I was not on before. The blue flex slot, I'm now on Blue Mavrian Skies, but this in the past has been Spellblade Assault or Shadow Averser. And I'm still trying to figure out what needs to be there. So the reason we're on Blue Mav now is because these Vynnset decks are now sort of leaning a bit more aggro. So in the new meta, there's a lot more aggro and sort of defensive fatigue builds. And so we also want to try and go a little bit more aggro to try and match that, try and outpace some aggro decks, or try and get over the wall. You know, we need those 2 wide turns to be able to get over those defensive decks. So Blue Mav for now to try and give us a little more aggro potential. The 2 block hurts a little bit, but again, if our goal is to try and lean a little more aggro, then I think that's fine. So Blue Mauve, as well as Red Mauve. We have a couple Yellow Mauve in the inventory, which I'll talk about in a sec. So also, I think this deck is about balancing the amount of attacks, the amount of Rune Chant generation you have, and the amount of go wide potential you have. So those Go Again enablers, as well as Creepers potential. So currently on 11 Go Again enablers, which is quite a bit, but again, we are trying to lean a bit more aggro. So we're on 2 Read the Runes. Read the Runes allows you can Creepers this in on your opponent's turn if you're blocking, or on your turn as like maybe an Ender, or if you have Go Again, nothing better to do, you can just Read the Runes after your attack, end on 3 Rune Chant tokens, which can be impactful. So 2 Read the Runes just for that Rune Chant gen again. I played around with cutting down the amount of Runeblood Incantation, but I've come to the conclusion that it does feel quite good. So we're back on 3, 2 in the main board, 1 in the inventory, which I'll talk about. But this just allows us to produce those Rune Chants at the beginning of our next few turns. It just helps facilitate our next few turns. Shadow Puppetry as more Go Again. This one is also a Shadow non-attack action, so it can trigger Vynnset's ability. Shadow Puppetry into Whale is amazing. If you have a banked 2-cost Rune Gate card, it allows you to follow that up with that when you close the chain on Whale, and you've taken the damage from Vynnset's ability. It guarantees 2 Rune Chants, so you can follow that up easily. So Shadow Puppetry, great. Phantom Wraith, we're still on the reds and the blues. This is sort of a default. So the core of the deck here is nothing too crazy. You find a lot of lists that run this sort of core. Variable amounts of Read the Runes, variable amounts of Runeblood Incantation and Funeral Moon, but there's not 2 and Envelop in Darkness, I guess. But so things shift a little bit, but the core is not overly, nothing too crazy, nothing too out there. Red and blue, 2-cost Rune Gate cards here, Phantom Wraith. We got another 2-cost Rune Gate in Widespread Ruin. We just run all of the widespreads. Red banishes from top of deck. As we know by now, yellow banishes from arsenal, and blue banishes from hand. Can be quite threatening if we can get up to that those 4 chants. I was recently on 3 Read the Runes plus Oblivion, so the 3rd Read the Runes and Oblivion in the inventory, but I've cut down, you know, Oblivion. I keep trying to convince myself back into it, but it just feels awkward, and you almost, sometimes, at least for me, I try and force it, and that leads to some sloppy gameplay and some suboptimal play lines when you're really trying to build up to those 6 rune chants, so I feel like it's a bit of a trap. I've taken it back out. I think 2 Read the Runes is correct. But, you know, you can always play around with 3 in Oblivion. It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. But in terms of the inventory, we have Down and Dirty for Dromai. So Dromai, depending on how much aggro grows, Dromai, it'll be interesting to see where Dromai goes. If she's going to be quite prevalent in the meta, if... I am seeing a lot more Fais floating around. I'm seeing a lot more Katsu. I'm seeing a lot more Ninja floating around, which hurts Dromai. So if Dromai is suppressed in the meta, then Down and Dirty likely comes out in favor of something else. But for now, we're still on Down and Dirty for Dromai. So you can stuff it in your arsenal, forget about it, and it represents an additional popper for you. Still on 1 Pummel. Pummel's fun. You know, you could take Pummel out. It's not the most impactful card, especially considering nowadays more defensive decks. Basically, a defense reaction sort of stuffs Pummel. So anyways, it's a lot of fun. It's still on the list, and you can decide how many Pummels you want to run. It is still a good piece. Putrid Stirrings. I'm on 3 red Putrid Stirrings to help get over defensive blocky decks. Okay, so this just allows you to build up a huge turn, big numbers that just overwhelm the Bravo or overwhelm whatever defensive fatigue deck you're running into, which again might become more prevalent in the current meta. We will see. Reduce to Rune Chant is likely our best defense reaction that we have access to. All the more reason to play tight and try as much as possible to end your turn on Rune Chants, because then this is free. It becomes a 0 for 4. Reduce the Rune Chant costs 1 less to play for each Rune Chant you control. So as long as you control 1 Rune Chant, this is a 0 for 4 that produces a Rune Chant token for you, which can facilitate your next turn. Tunic can help pay for this so that you don't have to pitch from hand, but it's not the end of the world as well if you do have to pitch from hand. It can open up your next turn. So Reduce is great. If we are going to be siding in any defense reactions at all, Reduce comes in first, and then Sink below if we need more defensive capability. This can also fix our hand, which as Rune Blades can happen. We can get some awkward hands, so Sink below can come up and help us fix those awkward Rune Blade hands, especially if we're on the blocking plan. I'm now on 2 Revel in Rune Blood. A lot of lists are running 1 at least. Again, trying to lean a little more aggro, trying to facilitate those 2 wide turns, really impactful 2 wide turns. So you can have a significant, a very impactful turn on Revel, 1 Go Again enabler. So basically a 3-card hand, or if you have one of these pieces in your arsenal, you only need to keep 2 cards. You need a Rune Chant or a Rune Gate card banked. You banish the second Rune Gate card. Go Again, Rune Gate that out, Revel into the second Rune Gate card. Facilitates a really wide and significant turn with a lot of Rune Chant, a lot of single instances of Arcane coming their way. So this allows us to, again, get over defensive builds and push that damage when we need to. The 3rd Runeblood incantation is in the sideboard, so if we are sort of on more of a blocking plan and we have more opportunity to set up, block out. We're not too worried about them swinging back potentially if they are really on a fatigue build. Then this allows us to set up further. So the 3rd one can come in if we feel like we can set up a little bit more on our turn. Yellow Mauve Skies. So when the Revels go in, the Yellow Mauves usually come in as well. So this allows for more Go Again, which is important on these Revel turns. You can Creepers in Rever. You can Creepers in Revel if you don't have the natural Go Again. But Yellow Mauve also produces another target for Pummel. When you pummel something that is mauved, it feels quite good. So anyways, Yellow Mauve in with Revel and likely Pummel. So our aggro pieces against, decks that we're trying to outpace potentially. Mauve, Pummel, Revel, that's 5. You could put in the reduce. You know, this is always a great piece when you do need to block. Putrid Stirrings could come in as more aggro as well. And then our last piece here, this is my most recent re-include. So it came out of the deck in favor of some more aggro pieces. It is now back in the deck because I do think fatigue is going to become more prevalent in the meta. And this just shuts those decks down. You can pitch them all you want. It is a 3-block blue. You can pitch it all you want early game. Late game, it's going to allow you to... I don't know how often you're going to be able to get the draw, honestly, and we're not worried about that. It's just going to, when your opponent's sitting on a bunch of defense reactions, it's going to turn those cards off, and it might be what allows you to close that game out. So I haven't had an opportunity to test it too much, but I do think it will be quite impactful into those fatigue decks. So it's back in the list for now for further testing. Dyadic Carapace, which I've mentioned before, represents 3 additional life. Arcane Barrier 2 if we do run into some Kanos, which is by far our best matchup, by the way. Arcane Barrier 2 help us get over some break points against aggro. This could be the call. Ebon Fold is still in the list. Spell Void 2 against Wizard, but once again, if you're not worried about Kano, these, well, specifically this piece could come out. Grimoire gives us further Arcane Barrier, Arcane Barrier 1, so this would go into Runeblade. We don't have Vexing Quillhand in the list anymore, so this is our AB, and its ability could come up. I would only suggest cracking this late game. The Blood Debt is going to hurt you, but it could allow you to, you know, play out or read the runes with Go Again and close out the game. Nebula Blade still in the list for Dromai, specifically. Little Dragon Swatter there that produces a rune chant on hit. So that's where we're at in the list. Generally, to summarize, the recent changes, we're on less blues because we can get away with less blues now that Iyslander's out of the meta. So I'm on 15 blues in the main board, 3 blues that I can side in the sideboard. But honestly, this Burdens of the Past is more for its ability, and we're not so much worried about having a critical mass of blues. Can allow you to play Runegate cards from hand, so we do still like blues, but we don't need as many as we did before when Iyslander was floating around. So you could even play, I think you could go as low as 12 blues maybe if you want to try and lean really, really aggro. So anyways, this is where I'm at with the list. Let me know what you guys are seeing or feeling with new testing. The one thing I'm trying to figure out is how many attacks do we need? Right now I'm on 27 attacks. So that means when we side in and we have 60 cards, we're on 27 attacks and 33 non-attacks. So I think we used to be on at least 30 attacks, if not 33. So I'm wondering whether we need to go back up to at least 30. So there could be opportunity to find 3 slots here in the main board for attacks. What happened in this list here is those blue Mauve Skies are now in favor of our Spellblade Assaults and Shadow Aversirs, which honestly didn't come up that frequently in terms of being important, impactful cards. So I think Mauve is just better, but yeah, that's something I'm still grappling with. The balance between attacks, non-attacks, that's always a Runeblade issue. So anyways, let's jump on Talishar. There's no better way to find out whether something's working than testing it. So anyways, let's jump in, see who we get paired into. As mentioned, I want to produce some more of this gameplay footage to really be able to analyze the deck, how it's performing. Oh, right into a Vynnset. That's really interesting. Smile Like a Chow is really, really active on the Vynnset Discord. So hey, how's it going? Shout out. Let's see how this goes. I haven't played the mirror match in a long time, to tell you the truth. I'm not really sure. I think we're just going to try and aggro. Let's side in a bunch of our aggro pieces. I mean, there's no reason not to play reduce. I don't have a solid sideboard plan in mind. I'm just mostly siding in most of our aggro pieces plus reduce. We probably want some AB. AB1, and I think this looks good to me. It's going to go a little late game, so Tunic is not hard to justify. in this matchup. We have the same loadout. He gets to go first, which is a pretty significant advantage, but chances are he's just going to pass. Yeah, Grass. This is a classic turn 0. Banish, a very impactful Rune Gate card. Grasp. This is a lot of fun, actually, getting the mirror match here. So shout out Smile. This is fun. This is going to be fun. Good luck. Have fun. All right. Let's see. Do we do the same thing? They're definitely on the... Yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We have a slightly worse Deathly Whale. We're also going to Grasp. But we are going to have an impactful arsenal here with Reduce. So I think we just pass and stuff this Reduce in Arsenal, and we'll both start on equal footing here. Let's see. We drew into nothing but attack actions, which is kind of interesting, considering the volume of non-attacks we have in the deck. You know, it can always happen, these this variance. Sitting on 2 red Deathlies here. He's gonna throw one of them at us. Let's see what he oh, he's so he's got an awkward hand as well. Grasp. Okay, maybe misclicked something there. That's okay. So banishing the Deathly. Let's see what kind of line they can come up with here. End, which is interesting. So not even firing a Deathly at us. Could be trying to build up. Interested to see what, you know, it'd be fun if we were playing face up. It'd be interesting to see what he's working with over there. We also have a pretty awkward hand. I'm tempted to banish one of the 2. I mean, obviously we're going to banish one of the 2 cost Rune Gate cards, but I think Widespread might be more impactful just for sheer numbers. We're going to fire the Deathly at him. Chances are he's going to block it out fully, if I had to guess. Do we Grasp, which would cost us 5, but we kind of want to filter a bit, and then we would get us to 4 rune chance, which is a bit more awkward to block. Gives us a better chance of our Deathly hitting. I think that might be the play here, even though it's sort of awkward. We're gonna pitch 5 and filter, make a 4th rune chant, and fire the Deathly off. See if he wants to really stuff our rune chant generation. He'll pitch for all 4 here, but at least it makes it a little more awkward. So he did choose to take 1. So we'll at least be sitting on 1 rune chant at the end of our turn, which I think is a win. He's going to be taking some more now, might as well. But he is building up a pretty significant turn, so he's going to hit us back pretty hard. At the very least, we'll have Reduce, which will be free on our rune chant. So another 5 here. We'll see if he wants to give us any cards or any equipment. It seems to me like he is trying to build up a very, very big turn, which is a bit scary, but we will see. We also have a Widespread Rune banked, which is not a bad situation to be in. We'll have Tunic up next turn, so depending on what we draw into, we might be able to match his big turn, which is going to be very big, considering... Oh, okay, he has a yellow Reduce, so he's going to go up to 4 rune chants. And is he going to block further? Nope. Going down to 31, we end on our rune chant. We have our Reduce of our own. Let's see how wide or how scary this turn is going to be. Wonder if he's sitting on Revel here in Arsenal or something like that. Oh, Requiem is a very interesting card. I've never really tested with it. Makes an Eloquence token. We'll see what he does with it. I guess he could go... this could be Oblivion. I don't know. We'll order them like that. So we have Deathly Reduce or Shadow. Oh, this is a great, great hand. Yeah, very, very good hand. We don't even... Okay, he's really building up to something. I'm happy that he let us keep this, though, because we are going to banish this Deathly, go up to 2. We didn't get to produce our 3rd with Reduce, but we're pretty happy to sit on it because we can simply use our Tunic resource here, For envelop, we have 3 shadow non-attacks. I could have, I guess, let's keep the, sorry, let's undo that. Let's instead pitch for envelop. I forget that I would have liked to sit on this in arsenal, but our arsenal is already stuffed up. So we're going to just pitch the envelop and absolutely pay either on the envelop or the shadow. It doesn't really matter. Play the shadow. Don't need to lose life twice. And we're going to go Deathly, and this is going to be for 3 and 9. On chain close, we will come and follow that up with another 2 and 6. So if they are trying to build something scary up, we're going to at least disrupt their plan with a pretty scary turn of our own. No matter what, well, we're not going to end on any rune chance. But we do have Tunic resource up for the reduce, which can come in. See if they decide to filter their arsenal here. I anticipate that it's an important piece since they've been sitting on it for a little while. We will see. Blocking all 10 here. Don't want us to look at the top of our deck, which is fair. And are they going to filter with crown? They did filter their arsenal. Okay. So, fine. Cover it up. Do we want to try and push more damage here? I think so. I think so. There's a world where you just keep the widespread ruin and sort of sit on the 2 rune chants, but we might as well push some damage here and disrupt their build-up here because I'm a little scared as to what they have cooking. So another 2 and 6. What do they have? They have 2 red deathlies and a funeral moon. One of these days, they're going to come 2 deathlies wide, which is quite nice. They only need a couple pieces to facilitate that, so they might actually have what they need in their hand. We'll see. Are you going to give us any more cards? You're running out of block. You can't really give us much significant in terms of equipment. You want to sit on that tunic for sure. So they're going to have to give us 2 cards from hand. They are going to instead try and opt to hit us back harder, I assume. All right, let's see what you got. We banished, into the, on close for the ruin, we did banish into a Deathly Whale, which we're happy to sit on. Very nice. We do not have any rune chance, but we can produce one here, assuming they swing into us. I do like this. If we are able to keep Tunic, we can envelop and get to Deathly. Might banish this Funeral Moon over the second Deathly. We'll see. See what they throw at us here. They are a little worried about their... yeah, they're going to have to start clearing some stuff out here. So is this a Creeper's play? This does not have natural go again, I don't think. But there's no world where we cover up all of the rune chants here. So let's start taking some rune chants. There's 6 of them. If we had 2 blues, there'd be a world where we would consider it, but no. So I wonder if they're going to, like, Creepers in, read the runes, maybe, with Eloquence, which would restore their action point and allow them to kind of come in with another Deathly, end on some rune chants. That'd be pretty strong. We do have our own Reduce, which we can pay. I think that's the play. Doesn't really matter if this hits or not. It does reduce. I wonder. We could sit on the arsenal. I think we just take this one and see what they follow it up with, because there's no way that they end here. And with the arsenal, it might incentivize them playing out the destruction instead of the whale, which I think is better for us. So they're going to use Tunic to activate Creepers, I assume. Yeah. And I'm going to guess read the runes. Let's see. What do you got? Oh, they're on Lantern. That's super interesting, actually. So this will restore their action point regardless of what they hit off the top. What did they banish? Oh, in response playing Funeral Moon. Okay, this is... I'm really interested to see what this is all about. So they did take the damage to Vynnset. So next rune chant will be unpreventable. Funeral Moon will resolve and produce a rune chant. Sure. Okay, what are you going to get? Ooh, he hit the blue too. He hit the blue. Very nice. So that produced a second rune chant. Love to see it. Good on him for playing with Pumpkin here. I like it. It's interesting. Okay, so we closed the chain here as well. Produced 2 more rune chants. Now we got, yep, a double Deathly Wail turn, which is pretty nice. We can't prevent the first one, so we're taking damage no matter what. We've already taken damage, so it doesn't really matter. I think we take the rest of the rune chants, and then we'll give him some equipment to cover this up. I was sort of hoping he would follow it up with take the bait and follow it up with destruction. But well played, much better to end on rune chants than threaten our arsenal when you don't know what's in there. So we're going to go ahead and give him reduce. So reactions, what do you got? Are you sitting on pummel? Well, you don't have resources for it, so it doesn't matter. Let's make our resource and react. Sure. So covering the 6 here, we'll stay on 20, create our first rune chant. I think we're going to banish Funeral Moon. Envelop. Yeah, I think that's the play. We still have Crown, which is nice. So we'll end our next turn on 3 rune chants. And we're going to present them with an on-hit that they can't really ignore. I'm a little worried for them about their blood debt. They're not... They might play out a Funeral Moon here. That might be the play. They have taken damage. At least reduce some of that. Oh, they can come in again. Did that have go again? Or did they have 2? I missed something here. That's okay. So, 2 more. So they were pretty effective at clearing their banish. I think we're just okay taking 4. We're going to be able to hit them back with some spice. I think we're fine just taking the 4 here. There's not really much from our hand that we really want to give up, because I do want to present them with the mauve. Something they can't really ignore. Alright, so they are going to end on... So that was a very, very strong turn. I'll have to watch this back to figure out... I wasn't analyzing it correctly, obviously. I missed a go again somewhere. Okay, so we're going to banish our Funeral Moon. Go to 2. We're going to envelop, which we do need to pay for, since we used our tunic resource, which is fine. So the plan was to pitch this... yeah, if we had 1 more resource, there could have been some sneaky creeper stuff, but we don't have a banked rune gate anyways. So here we always take the life for Deathly. We're going to go Mauve Skies. We can follow it up. It's a bit too bad that we don't have our Scepter, but that's okay. We can still follow it up with Flail. So it's going to be for 3 and 8, which is significant. They have to take the first one, so we will likely follow this up with Flail. They'll probably just give us Grasp for it, though. We'll see. I do wish I had Scepter here, but I think having the backup AB, even though we haven't utilized it, might just be the call. They're also on Grim there. Okay, so they're taking some Arcane. Are they going to want to take another 8? They do have... They're sitting on 1. Shouldn't be too hard to get to what they need to present us with Widespread. We don't have an arsenal to threaten. Oh, they're going to give us Grasp here, which sort of provides further incentive for us to present Flail, potentially. Fine. React. Yep. Reduce. Okay, so they are going to definitely either Widespread or banish into something. Great. No problem. I think we present Flail because then they have to decide whether they want to give us Creepers or Tunic. Or a card from hand, which might even be... okay, they're going to give us Creepers. They weren't relying on that one anyways. No problem. We will Funeral Moon. We don't need to pay to end the turn on 3 Rune Chants. And we'll see what they come up with here. We have lots of Go Again. And a Deathly Wail, which I love to see. So we might end up... We'll probably end up blocking with some of these Go Again enablers here. The mobs... on Deathly Wail, the mobs are a little bit less... you know, have a little bit less value compared to Shadow Puppetry, which can guarantee 2 Rune Chants on close. And they banish a blue Deathly Delight. That's an interesting piece. They probably have a higher blue count considering they're running Pumpkin. This does not have Go Again. We don't really care to cover up the Rune Chants. I don't think. 3. I think maybe we just give them Grasp and one of the mobs. I'm happy to sit on the other mob in Arsenal. Banish the Deathly. Shadow Puppetry. Pay the life. Deathly. So 4 and 7. We will end on 2 Rune Chants. If they let the Deathly Wail hit, there's potential for us to hit a 2-cost Rune Gate off top, which would be really devastating. So we'll see what they decide to do here. I feel like on their side it's probably more important to cover up the Deathly, just the potential for a wide turn here. So I think they just take the Rune Chants. Yeah. So let's see what they do with the Deathly. It does require 2 cards. 2 cards plus Tunic or a card plus a defense reaction. We've seen Reduce. We haven't seen any Sink Blows, I don't think. Nope. So they're blocking 3. Are they going to react? Do they have another Reduce? They would have to pay for it. Do they have a Sink? Unmovable. Interesting. Blue. Great. Covering it up. Cool. That is fine. If we present Flail, they have to give us card or Tunic. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. So basically trading a life for their Tunic or their card. I think that's just worth it. Or a Rune Chant, which we'll take too. End on 3. We end, so they will give us Tunic. Great. So we'll end on 2 Rune Chants, which is great. We'll stuff this Mauvrion Skies, which might be able to facilitate a wide turn next turn. They're going to have a hard time generating Rune Chants here. So it might just be a pass from them, or we'll see. They banish a Deathly Wail, so their Blood Debt's going to become an issue. We drew into Reduce, not, you know, super impactful Rune Gate card, unfortunately, but this will do. We have 2 Mob Skies, which is overkill. So maybe on too many Mob Skies, I don't know. But you never know, you know, there's variability between games, obviously. We're going to use the Tunic resource to give us a little reassurance here for the next 3 turns. We're going to have some Rune Chants, which is great. We are going to play out one of the Mob Skies, presenting an on-hit they can't ignore with a breakpoint of 4. So let's go ahead and do that. You can follow this up with Flail. If they decide to block out all the Rune Chants and the Deathly, I mean, at the very least, they need to cover this up because they're not going to give us the on-hit from Red Mauve. It's very scary. So, depending on what their hand looks like, they do need to start pushing back here. So they're taking some Arcane, and they're going to focus on covering up the Deathly, which I think is reasonable. They might be thinking about endgame on their end, and I don't know what they have, but it's going to start getting scary here. When they're on 1 rune chance, not too difficult to get to 3. And there's a world where they can facilitate a 2-wide turn, which would be bad for us. Their deck isn't too aggro leaning though, so we'll see what they come up with. Okay, blocking 3. I mean, they're gonna have to block the whole thing here. Otherwise, I think we flail either way. If this hits, we flail. It presents a rune chance that they have to. Yeah, this is okay. Good. Yep. And then they're gonna have 3 rune chance no matter what at the beginning of their turn, which is great. A little bit of an overblock here, but they can't not. Yeah. Answer this. So that's good. We are going to flail. End on 2 rune chance. We'll have 3 next turns. We can basically give them our whole hand. And I think, I don't know. I think we put Mauve in Arsenal because there's a world where we crown it away, depending on what we never crown away Reduce. So I don't know. All right, Flail, you going to give us a card or an extra rune chant? We're going to start on 3 next turn anyways, so I don't know. We're also happy to give them Tunic at this point in the game, too. So they're going to give us Requiem. And I think with... Trying to think, is there a 2-card hand? Well, one of them's going to Banish, so no. There's no way they're going to be coming in for... I guess if this is Shadow Puppetry, they can... And this is a 2-cost rune gate, they can come in 2 wide. But that's not really the end of the world. So I think we stuff Mauve's guys. We drew into a second Reduce. I'm really happy to see we at least drew into 1 rune gate. Could have been a bit dicey, but we do have Crown as a backup here. So if I had a blue, I would be tempted to block this out, but I don't. So we're going to have to let them produce some rune chance at the end of this turn. Just thinking through some options here. I think a good option is taking the rune chance. We're going to give them Crown and one of our Reduces. So we're going to meet them down at 3. I think this is the play. I don't know if we need the Mauve. I think... I'm not overly analyzing this line, so this might not be optimal, but I think I am... Like, if we play out the Mauve, they're at 3, so it doesn't matter. Like, the on-hit is the on-hit. They have to respect it. But I think drawing into something to try and... You know, we still have Creepers up. I think let's... Okay. So again, I don't really know what's correct here. We're going to have a significant amount, no matter what we're on the front, like we have tempo. They're going to go down to 2. We're going to start with 5 rune chants, which is super scary. We are going to, I kind of wish we had another rune gate banked. But either way, like, Envelop is just good. So we're going to play out Envelop. We're going to sit on the Reduce just in case they do have another turn. Do we want to pay the life? I guess there's a world where they cover this up, I guess. A very slim world. I think we're happy to take it. It could come back to bite me, but I don't know. We'll see. I think they're just going to have to give us their hand, though. Playing a little sloppy here at the end of the game, but I think it's just... Depending on what they have to give us 2 blues, or a blue and a yellow, and... I don't know if they have a defense reaction here. They're going to go to 1, though, and then they have to play out their blood debt. I think it's just over, maybe. What do they have in here again? Yeah, it's a 3 cost. So I think it's just over, but could be mistaken. There are some lists that are running Sigil, so that would be surprising. Lots of blues in the deck. So this is coming in for 8. They have to have a defense reaction. Unmovable? Fate? That's not going to be enough. GG's. GG's. Good game. Interesting deck. Lots of blues, but they had some really scary turns, so that really could have gone either way. Really interesting. I'm going to have to dig up that list. Thanks to Smile Like a Chow again. Shout out. I think they have a YouTube channel as well, so check them out. I'm going to probably pop on there and see if there are any run-throughs of this deck list. It's really interesting. I think Pumpkin is a really interesting piece that people are sort of starting to practice with and see if it works. I'm not fully sold, but it's really interesting card. This blue build is interesting. Anyways, appreciate the game nonetheless. Appreciate you guys for watching, so thanks so much. And we'll be back with some more gameplay footage very shortly, okay? Cheers, everybody.